Hi, it's Rick McPartland, and welcome back to your 21st Century Revenue Roadmap. I'm betting that the homework from the last session was challenging. The reason it's challenging is because we have so many myths left over from the 20th century. We were convinced that what we should be talking about is ourselves. We should be talking about our product, our service, our technology, the fact we've been around for 10 or 20 or 40 years. Instead of talking about the possible benefits or the client's problems, we've been taught to talk about ourselves. And so when we sit down to define our revenue strategy and answer questions like what's our brand promise, we're more used to saying, well, our corporate mission is this. Well, the customer doesn't care about your corporate mission. The customer cares about, what's the promise you're going to make to them. And I'm thrilled that you answered those 5 questions, because since you've answered those 5, we can now start to apply the ability to diagnose how those match up to the science, and we can take a look and see, are they deployable. And the fact that you wrote them down allows us to continually align and improve and change and get them to the next level. So this is exactly what you're going to do over the rest of your career to continually be the best there is. It's kind of like John Wooden, the greatest basketball coach of college history. He never coached his team to play against the other guys. He coached them to be the best they can be. And that's what this is about. When you answer these questions and you continuously improve them, now you can align your organization around them. You can get other people to be on your team, and you can move the whole organization forward that way. So I'm thrilled you did the homework. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to really build on the two most fundamental parts of those 5 questions, because I'm guessing you're not totally comfortable with what you have. So we're going to try and make you more comfortable, because once we can answer these first two and at a level that you go, yeah, I'm good with this, I can get started this way, then the rest of the stuff just starts to fall into place. So we're going to come back and we're going to spend specific time right now on your brand promise and brand promises in general, so that we're sure that we can create a great brand promise for you. And then in a few minutes, we'll come back and we'll address that customer problem that you solve for nobody else, or that nobody else solves. And then we're going to give you some more homework that's going to be to go back and take what you did from the last session and improve upon it and expand it. So that's what we're going to work on today. So first, let's start with the brand promise, and let's take a look at what makes a great brand promise. Great brand promises please, they entice, or they enable you to solve some problem. And I selected just 7 great brands that we're all familiar with. And I want to talk about how these 7 brands address those 3 places: the promise, the entice, and the enable. So, if we think about Disney, for example, Disney is absolutely about promising to please you. It's the happiest place on earth. It entices you with its values and its commitment to you and the family, and to making sure that while you're there, you are the happiest you've ever been. Mayo enables you to solve a problem, a medical problem, the ability to be healthy and to be safe. Apple, it does a pretty good job of all 3. They're going to please you. They're going to help you change the world, make a dent in the universe, challenge the status quo. They're going to help you solve your problems around applying technology to music or to graphics arts or to your passion for photography. Apple's going to do all 3 of those things. I also want you to think a minute, the phrase down at the bottom, whose frame of reference do these great brands message in? I mean, Disney's happiest place on earth. It's your happiest place, our happiest place. It's not about Walt Disney. It's not about how many locations they have. It's about their bringing to their customers the happiest place on earth. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. They're talking about you in the car experiencing that. Apple talking about standing at the intersection of technology and art and bringing that to you in the simplest, most elegant, most user-friendly environment possible. They're talking about the customer. And maybe one of my favorites in this case is Starbucks. We give you a moment in your day where you can just escape and spoil yourself. So as you're thinking about your brand promise, ask yourself, are you promising to please your customer? Are you enticing them by things that you and your customer both believe in? Like in the case of Disney, we believe this should be the happiest place on earth. Or Apple, that we should be challenging status quo. Or that Starbucks, that we believe you deserve some time to yourself. Or are you promising to enable, solve a particular problem? And Starbucks is interesting that, they both do entice and they do please, but they also enable you to solve that problem. Where can I go to just get a few minutes to get my head on straight, to relax, and to reprioritize my world? So I want you to think about your brand promise that way. I want you to start to express this in such a way that your customers see themselves in that picture. And we're going to talk more about that later. But the messaging has to be from the frame of reference of your customer. And this is not difficult. It's just different. It's not what we're used to. And it doesn't matter what you sell or what industry you're in. Most of these are B2C, and we selected B2C because they're more known and it's easier for us to learn from. But there are the same kinds of things in the B2B world as well. So get really clear about how you're going to message this, how you're going to say this, and you can do it for your brand as well. The second one is, let's come back and take a look at what's the customer problem you solve for your customer that no one else solves. And my guess is as you went to go do this, this was harder than you expected. We're so used to telling people what we do, it's hard to make that transition. So let's take a look at some of the rules around how to do this. First, always speak from the customer's frame of reference. If you start out with, well, what we do or how we do this or our approach is, we already have a problem. Always speak from the customer's frame of reference. And what and how you do it is never the answer. The answer from the customer's problem is never, well, we write software, we do consulting, or we've been around for 100 years. It's never what you do. It's always why you're solving this problem. Think about the Disneys. It's the passion to make it the happiest place on earth, or BMW. It's the passion to give people the ultimate driving experience. It's the why and the how. The way we give you the greatest driving experience is. And when you're talking about this, it needs to be compelling and alluring and bonding and passionate. It's not about just, the mechanical, tactical, commoditized conversation. It's about creating a long-term loyal relationship. Think about Apple for a minute. And anybody that owns an Apple, are they just kind of like it, or are they almost fanatical? And if you've ever known an Apple person, do you think they've ever tried to convert the typical DOS or Windows or Microsoft people over to Apple? They are Apple's best salespeople because they're passionate about this. They're bonded to it. And are you ever worried if you're an Apple salesperson that your client will come back to you and buy the next machine or buy the phone to go with the tablet or the tablet to go with the computer? Of course, they're going to come back and they're going to be loyal, long-term relationships, and they're constantly going to try and convert everybody they know over to use this product. And ultimately, when we think about referrals, and every company wants referrals, and we always say, well, let's go get more referrals. We know we need referrals, let's go do it. The reason we can't get referrals is when we use language and we ask the referrals to tell their friends what we do. The what we do conversation is boring, it's not compelling, and it isn't very high integrity, because what you do, 10 other people say they do the same thing. So asking the referral source to tell you what they do and pass that on to all their friends, they'll never do it. But when all you have to do is say, you want to go to the happiest place on earth? I'll tell you, I just came from Disney. It was spectacular. Or if you want to really change the world and you really want to see what computing or technology should be, man, Apple absolutely changes the rules, and they make it so easy, and it's just simple and intuitive. You just got to get there. That's a whole lot easier than a tactical, technical, what we do conversation, and it's so much more believable.